It is time for Realmathon and I am so excited. This is a competitive team-based readathon happening all March, hosted by Cassidy from Covers with Cassidy. I'm so excited to be co-hosting again this year. I am a co-host for Team Shadows with Mel from Mel Lenore Reads. We're gonna win, so you're gonna want to join our team. It is not too late to join. Everything is linked in the description. I really like how this readathon is set up because you can read whatever you want and it will fit for prompts and you're not restricted to genres or anything. So I will see you on Team Shadows. One of my goals for this year is to read books from my physical TBR. So in this weekly vlog, I'm going to be doing that. I have a spinner wheel with all of the books that I own that I have not read, and I'm just going to be spinning as I go to pick books for me. I have this wheel with the 83 books on my physical TBR that are not planned for specific videos. I have maybe 5 or 6 that are not on this wheel. So we're going to spin and pick my first book. Oh wait, I've read that one. No, spin again. I thought I took that off. What is happening? So apparently the wheel on my computer and my phone are different and I updated it on my phone. I'm gonna do a spin and screen record and come back. So sorry, I film on my phone. I will fix it for the next time. Kickoff sprints are about to start, so I am going to do that, do my spin, and come back and let you know what I'm reading. So sorry about that chaos. I did a spin. I wasn't really hoping for a book that it did not have an audiobook, but here we are. I got this for 72 hours in the haunted house last year. Did not read it, and it's been sitting on my shelf since then, so what better time to pick it up than now? This is a psychological thriller horror, maybe. I think it's supposed to be fast-paced, tension, and suspense, which are some of my favorite things, so I have high hopes for this one. This will be my first read. Also, I did input all of my books into the spinner wheel on my computer, so from now on, I will be able to do that, and you'll see my live reaction to things. So we are on sprints, and I am reading the 9th session, but I'm struggling to focus, so I want to do another spin, and hopefully I can get something with an audiobook, because I want to still be reading, but that's just a lot easier for my brain, so hopefully this does not let me down. Truly, this is not what I wanted. So I have not started Born. Actually, I listened to like 30 seconds on the audiobook and realized I just don't want to read this. I gave Annihilation 2 stars. I actually read it for Realmathon last year. I didn't like it. I didn't like the writing, and when I don't like the writing, that's not really something that like changes drastically. So I like the concept of this, but I can't do it. I have not been reading because I just don't want to pick up this book. So I'm gonna just unhaul it and do another spin and hopefully get a different book for my audiobook. Let's see what we get. Hopefully there is an audiobook available. Okay, this is kind of terrifying. This book is on my official March TBR. It's a long one, but it is an author that wrote one of my all-time favorite books. I'm just really scared. It is 11:30 p.m. Sprints are over, and I wanted to give you a quick update on everything. I am officially not going to read this. I'm unhauling it. I have made it 36 pages into the 9th session. This is a psychological suspense. You're following a psychologist, and she gets a new client, and she's just like starting to feel weird vibes from him. There's a car that she sees following her after he shows up, and she's also going through a lot in her personal life. We are watching her and her sessions with this guy, Luke, and also seeing how the grief that she's dealing with is impacting her in general. So far, so good. And then I did start Bad Man. I cannot wait to figure out what this symbol means. But I got through the first 20 pages, which is the first chapter, and is what it says in the synopsis, with Eric going missing when him and his brother Ben were at a grocery store. So far so good. No real thoughts. I'm not very far into this one at all. I just wanted to show you my physical TBR. So the shelf is a little confusing because most of them are books I owned before 2023, but then some of them, like Desert Creatures and The Exorcist, are on my 24 books to read from 2024 or on a haul list. So this is kind of a mix, but I think all of the books that I've owned longer than 2023 are on this shelf. One of them, this one, will be getting read this week, even if the spinner wheel does not land on it, because I'm doing a buddy read with my friend Michelle, and we're starting this on Monday, so this one will get read. Down to the shelf, these are all books that I got in 2023. It's a decent stack, but also this one is going to get read on Sunday. I have my Patreon book club discussion for this book. I'm really excited because it's our second time meeting up. We have a Google Meet meeting, so we get to like actually hang out and chat, but this is our pick for February, so we have our discussion for that. So once again, this one will be getting read in this vlog no matter what. So I have all of these. I have a lot of horror novellas, Twisted Retreat books, some more Twisted Retreat books, some other things. These two are scary. Let's not talk about them. Also, while we're here, I'm going to unhaul this. Katie very kindly sent this to me, but I have not heard anybody give it above a 3-star, and I just don't want that in my life. So that is that. And then these are the books that I've gotten this year. Most of these came from Mel. I will have that video linked if you want to see me going to her house and stealing all of her books. I got this from Aardvark. These are all from Mel. This is an ARC that was sent to me. I got this one. This is another ARC that was sent to me. I bought this one, and that's it. So these are my options for this week. I also have First Lie Wins and Little Secrets over here. That is my March TBR for my TBR game, and then some book clubs that I host, and then future buddy reads that I didn't want to have on this shelf and accidentally read them. Really, I should put this one over there because I'm doing a buddy read of this with Mel, Cassidy, and Monica at some point, so maybe I'll put that over there. But yeah, these are my options. I am very scared of some of them, very excited for others. Hello, it is Saturday night at 11 p.m. I had a very busy day. I was not home for most of the day. I slept in for once, and then at 10, Adam and I left because today is my sister and my nephew's birthday, so we went for the birthday party. So we had to drive an hour and a half to get there. So we were there all day, got home at like 6:30, and then I just kind of existed, and then I joined sprints with Mel, and I got halfway into the 9th session. I did read a tiny bit more of this before I went to bed last night, but not very much. So far, I am still really liking it. I do think that there are some issues with the writing. There are a few like things that I've noticed, like there was a period that was missing in one spot, and there was another thing where there was just like a word that didn't make sense in the sentence. I'm pretty sure this is indie published. I don't know anything about touchpointpress.com, but I guess that is the publisher. I don't know. This author is a psychologist in practice for 30 years and a professor at a university, and she has several books and has been a technical advisor for Law and Order SVU, which is very interesting. I'm really liking the story. I do have a few complaints. So we are getting, I guess, the 9 sessions that happen between our main character, the psychologist, and this patient. And I do like the setup of the book because we are getting each session individually and then getting her clinical notes afterwards, and then also seeing the other stuff in between the sessions with like the person that's stalking her possibly, and her going and talking to the other therapist who is her therapist but also like her supervisor. I don't really know how that works. I think it's interesting. It's keeping my attention. It is reminding me of The Patient by Jasper DeWitt, which makes sense. There's similar settings for books. I feel like we are in this countdown because we know there's going to be 9 sessions, so like what's going to be the thing that ends it? I think my biggest complaint at the moment is these sessions feel weird. We know that they're timed sessions for an hour, but we get like a page and a half of their conversation and they're like, oh, time's up. And I'm like, you said 2 things. I don't understand. So I just wish that there was a little more, not even 2 of these sessions, but just a little more clarity that we are either being dropped into the session later on and it's close to the end, or that we are not seeing parts of it, because it just feels weird with it being so short. Honestly, I thought I would read a lot more today, but I didn't. My brain just wants to shut down. I honestly think I might read just a little bit of the Fullcroft Ghosts before bed because I have my Patreon meeting tomorrow. And then after that, I will be able to jump back into Badman. I'm really enjoying this, but it takes me a lot longer to read with my eyes because I get distracted a lot. But I am kind of hoping to finish this tomorrow as well. It's been a long day. Days where I'm not home for most of the day are very draining to me. So I'll talk to you tomorrow. Good morning, it is Sunday, it's almost 12, and I am on sprints on Tori's channel for Realmathon, and I am 60% into the Fullcroft Ghosts. Yes, I did not spin this, but I need to read it for my Patreon book club. The meeting is in 2 hours and 20 minutes. I will for sure finish before then. The book is pretty short, but there's also a short story at the end. So far, I'm not loving this one. I don't think it's bad at all, but it's not keeping my attention. I am not really feeling the tension and the atmosphere that I feel in a lot of her books. This one did come out in 2017. It makes sense that this one isn't as good as some of her others. We are following two characters. They're like 12 and 15, and there's something that happens to their mom at the beginning. She's in some sort of accident and is in the hospital and is not doing well. So a family friend is taking care of them for a little bit and then is going on a trip. So they are dropped off at their grandparents' house, who they've never met. They don't really know anything about them. And they get there and they're like, there's no cell service, so like give us your phones. And then they start to like maybe see people walking at night and like hearing things, but then they're like, hey, are there ghosts? And they're like, yeah. And I don't know, I'm just not feeling the tension that I feel in a lot of her books. It's fine. I'm glad I'm reading it. I do want to go through all of Darcy Coates' backlist, but it's not my favorite. Also, I just realized I'm probably further than 60% in because the audiobook probably has the 3 short stories in the back, so I don't know. I wish that more was going on, but I'm not hating it. Probably gonna be 3 stars. I have to say, weekly vlogging is really hard for me. The people that do it consistently, like, I just, one, don't do enough exciting things, and then also, I just forget. Seriously, cat? That's not your food. If you're not aware, my one cat is on a diet. She's a little chunky and needs to lose weight for her health. And my other cat is on special food right now, and his food's sitting there. Nova knocked it over. Anyway, I am on reading sprints for Realmathon. I'm hosting. It's my first time hosting. If Meatloaf comes up one more time, I don't know what I'm going to do about that. But yesterday, I don't know why I just completely forgot to talk to you. I did finish The Full Crop Ghosts. This is one of my least favorites from Darcy Coates, but it was still 3 stars. I enjoyed it. I need to stop reading her books with the audiobook. I feel like the creepiness factor translates well in the physical format and not in audio for me. I think that not a lot happened in this one and I wanted more from it, but still a good time. The other book I said I was going to read that is not from my spinner wheel is The Silence of the Lambs. I have started this. I'm 25% in. I'm doing my buddy read with Michelle, so I'm 90 pages into this copy. I haven't seen this movie. I haven't seen any of the adaptations. I don't know anything about it other than Hannibal Lecter is one of the best like psychological villains like to this day. So far I think it's one of the best like older horror books that I have read. A lot of them I don't like, but this one is going pretty well. I do wish we were getting more from Hannibal Lecter, but we might get that in other ones. I think this is the second book, but you can read them out of order, so I guess that's what I'm doing. I had Red Dragon, but I don't know where it is, so we're just starting with Silence of the Lambs. But we're mostly following, I forget her name, even though Michelle told me, Clarice, and she is in training for the FBI and has been kind of not assigned to Hannibal Lecter, but he is interacting with her, so she keeps being sent in to talk to him, and I guess he's going to help them solve some sort of case with, I forget, I'm so bad with names, Buffalo Bill. So far so good. I don't have a lot of real thoughts. I do wish we were getting more from Hannibal Lecter, but I'm liking it so far. So my plan for the rest of the night is to finish the 9th session. I'm halfway in. I want to wrap this up. I have a little bit of editing to do, so I can't read the rest of the night, so that's why my goal is just to finish this one. So then tomorrow I will read another 25% of this and then get back into Bad Man. The sprint is almost over. I'm having a lot of fun on sprints, but like the Meatloaf talk, why? It's 10:20. I have finished the 9th session and I really enjoyed this. I'm going to give it like a 3.5 to 4 star. I'm going to think on it a little bit. I think that it was a little repetitive and I honestly think it could have been a little bit shorter. But overall, I really liked it. I think it was interesting. It kept my attention. I liked the discussions on the psychoanalysis, I think it was called, and the psychologist's like point of view. She is a psychologist, so I'm assuming that all the stuff in there is accurate. Also, there's a lot of stuff on growing up as a daughter of 2 deaf parents. I don't know if the main character is using that from like a personal experience or she just wanted to write about it. But I thought that was interesting. There was a lot of like talk of sign language in here. And I like how this wrapped up. I thought it was a fun time. I am glad that I read it. So I'm still reading Bad Man for my audiobook, but I am going to do another spin because I want to see if I can get a book that I can get from my library and read on my Kindle to read before bed as well. Okay, I think I should be able to get this one because it's an older one, but still popular enough. So I think this will be my next ebook. Okay, that was not available at the library, so I'm going to do another spin. I put The Nesting back on this list, but like I specifically want something to read on my Kindle when I'm reading to go to bed, so that's why I'm gonna pick something else. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get this one. Please hold. Okay, that is not available at my library or KU, so trying again. This is a maybe. I thought this one would be okay because it's a backlist book, but I have 3 library cards that has this, and it's not available and it's not on KU, so hopefully this time works. Okay, let's try again. Hi friends, it is Wednesday. I didn't talk to you yesterday. I've been struggling a little bit with just like my brain getting the better of me. I haven't been reading as much as I usually do. I've just been feeling very overwhelmed with like just multiple different things going on. I've also been having issues with my microphone. I record on my phone and I've just been having to re-record things. I've had a lot of issues with just like noise in general, so like I've been not wanting to film because I'm like, what if I have to refilm this? So I did just order a mic, which I'm really excited about because I think that's going to make things better for me and make me want to film more, because I'm not gonna be like, well, this might not work. And then I've just also been like really struggling to get on a schedule. I always get stuff done in the time frame that I want to, but I am really bad at doing things in times that make it so that I have less time to do other things. And I was doing pretty well with it, and then 72 hours happened and I lost all of the habits that I had built up, and it's just been really frustrating for me. Like, why does my brain have to be like this? So I didn't talk to you yesterday. That was a long unexpected rant. I am now 50% into the Silence of the Lambs. I'm going to read another 25% today. I am enjoying this so far. I do think that it has outdated language with the character of Buffalo Bill. I didn't know anything about this book going in. I knew who Hannibal Lecter was. I know he's this cannibal, and like in the first one, his whole situation is set up, and I definitely want to go back and read that one because I think I'm gonna like be obsessed with that one, because my favorite part of this is Hannibal Lecter and getting to know more about him. The parts in this that I'm liking the least are the parts following Clarice as she is doing her like investigating type of stuff. It's not bad, it's just like not keeping my attention quite as much. So the villain in here is said to not be trans, but is like outwardly presenting a lot of the same ways, and I do have some issue with it. It's just kind of like relating being trans to being predatory, and there are conversations in here that are saying like that is not true, that's very misinformed and all this stuff. So it's just, I don't know, I just have weird feelings about it, but there definitely is outdated language in it. But I think the story is interesting. I am like very interested in Hannibal Lecter as a character, so I do need to go back and read Red Dragon. That one did come out before this one, so my buddy read is going well on this. Where's my other book? The Spin, that is the last thing you saw. I probably should update you on that. So I did get the Roanoke Girls. I had this copy, and then I got the copy from my Kindle. No, from my library, and I'm reading it on my Kindle. I've started it, and I am apparently 13 pages in. I read one chapter the night that I spun for the book, and then I think I read one page and fell asleep last night. But we are following Lane, who 11 years ago, she was 15, and her mother died by suicide, and then she moved in with her grandparents and her cousin. And there's this like family secret where, not secret, but like, I don't know, this thing where all of the women in her family either end up dying or disappearing. And then 11 years later, Lane, our main character, lives in Los Angeles, and her grandfather calls her and tells her that her cousin has gone missing, so she's trying to figure all of that out. So far so good. I've heard that sounds really dark, which is quite exciting to me. I like my thrillers to be a little bit darker. I probably won't really read much of this today. I'll read it on my Kindle again tonight. And then Bad Man. I have made it, I think, 116 pages in. Yeah, I just got to part 2. This hurts me desperately, but I think I'm going to DNF this one. It's too long. The audiobook is like 16 and a half hours long. Nothing is happening. I am like vaguely interested in what's going on, but it's so repetitive, and I just cannot sit through another over 3 hours at 3.5 times speed of the audiobook. I do think that it is recorded slower than a lot of other books are, because there's no way a book that is 386 pages needs to be 16 and a half hours on an audiobook. But like, I was like, wow, I wish Audible went faster than 3.5 times speed, because I'm not getting through this fast enough, because it's just, yes, I could read with my eyeballs, but it's not interesting enough to want to do that. And I did look up spoilers, and I kind of am interested in it, but I've heard that like a lot of people don't like the end. They don't like how it's done, and I feel like I know the important stuff, so I don't like need to read it. I would try more from this author again. He doesn't have anything out since this one, and I think this came out in like 2018. Yeah, it did. So I hope he does another book. Pen Pal, still absolutely one of my favorite books. I don't think this was bad. I think it was boring. So I am going to DNF this one. So I'm going to get through another 25% of this. This one is my physical read. So I'm going to do another spin for my next audiobook, and hopefully I will get a little bit into that today. Hopefully I only have to spin once this time instead of 4 times. Here we go. Hello, now that my Jolly Rancher is almost gone, I can give you an update on the Silence of the Lambs. There's a little bit left, so ignore my Jolly Rancher eating. I'm joined by Winston. I'm on sprints on Kristen's channel for Realmathon, and I'm 75% into the Silence of the Lambs. There are definitely still moments in here that I'm like, this was clearly written in the 80s. There's just like comments about weight and things like that. This quarter of the book, by far my favorite. I do wish we were getting less perspectives. Well, it's in third person, so it's not like in their head specifically, but we are following more than I wish we were following. I really just want to be following Hannibal Lecter, but also like the main character Clarice. I think that it could be done in a way that she was doing more of the stuff. I mean, I get it because she is a student still, but there's just some other perspectives. They're not unnecessary, but I just don't want them. So I guess like the way the book is written is not my favorite, but like we got more of Hannibal Lecter in this. I don't want to spoil it, but there's this thing that happens. If you've seen the movie, Michelle said it's like pretty much the same exact thing. And it was like this twist, and I was like, oh, like they got me. Thomas Harris got me. So I'm having a really fun time with it, and I think that the end is probably going to be my favorite part, because there's a lot more going on than just like the basic investigating at this point. It's very, very good. I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm glad Michelle and I are doing a buddy read of this, because truly this is probably the oldest book that I own, not in like publication date, but I have owned this book the longest out of all of the books I own. This, and I think I own the next book in this series, but not the first one. I just kept putting it off because I was so scared. Michelle was scared of it too, so I'm glad that we are reading it together. And it just like works perfectly that this has a black cover for Team Shadows. So I will be finishing it up tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to that. I have not read any more of my other books. The Last Wife, something. That book, I did get the audiobook for that, so I will be starting that now. Well, now I'm going to do a little bit of editing, but I am going to switch back to an audiobook after I edit for a little bit, so I will be starting that. I'll probably update you on that before I go to bed, and then switch to the Roanoke Girls, and then update you on that in the morning. Weekly vlogging is hard for me, but also I'm really liking it. It feels less restrictive. I don't know how to explain it, because really it's not that different than like the themed vlogs, but in my brain it just works very differently, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm gonna go edit, and I will talk to you. Hello, it's 9:30-ish, and I have started The First Wife by Erica Spindler. I've made it 55 pages in, and the theme of my past few weeks is I'm gonna DNF this book. I just like, it's not the kind of thriller for me. This was written in 2015, well, published in 2015, and like I don't want to read it. I should have known by this title. I got this a few years ago at a library book sale, and for some reason, anytime I would go through my shelves and unhaul, this was one that would like almost get unhauled every time. Nova's so cute. She's sitting on the couch right behind you. The ring light is on but facing that way, and she's like that's really funny. So we are following Bailey Brown, and she is swept off her feet after a whirlwind 5-day romance that convinces her that she should get married and move to this man's small town and not know anything about him. She tried to get details about him. He's like, oh, I don't want to talk about that right now. We can talk about it later. She's like, okay. So she just accepts that she doesn't know a single thing about him. They literally get married after 10 days, and she like just like uproots her entire life. We don't know any details about her or her past. Like, she doesn't feel like a real person. And she just moves there, and like he hasn't told anybody about her. And they were like, oh, weird, but hello. And then his sister wants to like fight him about it. So then she goes to this restaurant for lunch by herself, and she asks for the newspaper, and they're like, which one? So she asks for all of them. So there's 3, and on the opening page is like, oh, there's this missing woman, and it's the second one. And the waitress is like, ooh, there might be a third. And then she's like, is it my husband's ex? And she's like, and then like writes her phone number on a napkin and runs away. And then she's like, maybe he just doesn't want to talk about it, and goes home and sleeps with him because she doesn't want to think about the fact that she doesn't know anything about him or his life or probably who he is as a person. And then I quit reading. So that's this book. Another book off of my physical TBR. Honestly, 4 books from my physical TBR. Incredible. The fact that 2 of them have been DNFs, not so much. So I am now going to go lay in bed and read the Roanoke Girls on my Kindle. So far I'm really liking this one, literally 13 pages in, but I am excited to pick it back up tonight. So I'll talk to you in the morning with my thoughts on this, but the cats are about to fight, so I'm gonna go. It is 9:30-ish. I am on Realmathon sprints. I decided to do some early morning ones because I've been getting up early and wanted to be productive anyway. So I have that. This morning I have already gone to Dunkin' and to the post office. Dunkin' has $3 cold brews until the end of April, and I only like cold brew. I don't like iced coffee. I don't understand, but it's the truth. So their churro one, very good. Anyway, books. I will be finishing this today, but I haven't started it yet. And I am 40% into the Roanoke Girls, but I did get some things in the mail that I want to show you, and then I will talk to you about the Roanoke Girls. I need to like play around with some stuff still, but I'm testing out my new microphone that I just got. This is the one that I ended up getting. Chandler Ainsley had this one linked, and I think it's the one she uses, and I really like her sound quality, so I got this one. I want to play with it a little bit, but the little test I did before filming this seemed to go pretty well. I just wanted it to get rid of some background static, and I think it's doing that. So this is what I went with. I do need to get another cord. There's like 2 outputs. One is just for cameras, and then the other one is for phones. So I'm just using like my phone charger cord right now to connect, but I do want to get probably a shorter one instead of having my 3-foot one connected to this. But other than that, I'm very happy with it, and it like just fits in with my current tripod and everything, so that is really great. And then I got 2 books from Pango. So the first one I got is Happiness Falls by Angie Kim. This will be in a video coming out soon. I think it might be the next one, but I have read from Angie Kim before. I liked Miracle Creek, so I wanted to grab this one because it was only like $5. And then I also got The Return by Rachel Harrison. So on my Patreon, I have a tier where we do read-alongs. And right now we are doing the Hunger Games series. So we're doing the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes right now. Then the 3 original in the series. And then we're having like a Google Meet hangout to talk about everything. Then the next 3 months, we're doing 3 John Mars books. The Passengers was my favorite book of last year, so I wanted to read some of his backlist. We're going to do his new book that comes out, and then 2 other ones. And then in October, we will be reading So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison. And in November and December, we will be reading Cackle and The Return. I think it's going to be fun to like do a series every once in a while, but also just like do some of an author's books. And then at the end of those 3 months, just hang out and chat about the books that we read. So I saw this for also $5. So I wanted to grab it so I had a copy. I really liked Black Sheep. So that's what inspired doing Rachel Harrison's books this year. So that's my haul. Also, the packaging for The Return matched it, which is very fun. So the Roanoke Girls, I have been going back and forth between my Kindle version and the audiobook and then this, but right now I do not know where I am. I do know I'm 40% in. There's no chapter numbers in here. It's just like now and then later. So I don't know where I am, but 40% in. This is one that I personally am enjoying, but I would not recommend widely. The whole plot is focused around something that like I feel like a lot of people will be like, that's crossing the line. It's too far. I don't want to read that. If you are interested in knowing what it is, you can message me on Instagram and I will let you know. But it's just the whole book features this one thing very heavily. So I just cannot recommend it like generally, even though I am enjoying it. I feel like at this point it's feeling like 4 stars. It's one of those things where it's like so that I just need to keep reading to know how we got to this point and how it's going to continue. Like, yep. So really we're just following this family, learning about Lane's past and the like few months that she was at the Roanoke house after her mom has died and getting to know everybody. And we know that she left at one point, but we don't know what caused that. I mean, I have some ideas. Now she's back because her cousin is missing. And I like, you know what's going on for a lot of this, but I just can't look away. So I will for sure be able to finish this today. I'm excited about it. I am glad that I picked a short one, and then this will be really easy to finish as well. So it worked perfectly that I'm going to finish both of these books in this video, and it's not going to carry on into next week's weekly vlog. I'm on sprints. I am going to edit for a little bit. I'm trying to stay on top of editing this vlog because I'm really bad at doing that. Then I think I'm going to finish The Silence of the Lambs and then end with The Roanoke Girls. I'm almost done with The Silence of the Lambs, but I got a package. If you watched my book haul, I was saying that Holly, who's one of the incredible people on my Patreon, sent me a book and it came damaged. So I returned it and I ordered a new copy and it's here. Wow, love the greasy fingerprints on it. I have a lot of questions for the people that put dust jackets on things. I should not see the synopsis, but the other one was ripped and I could see it on the side, so I'm probably can make this work. But I have these like sticky fingerprints on here, so if you have any advice on how to get like, can you see it? Like right here, this kind of fingerprint off. There's 3, I don't know if you can see it, but there's 3 fingerprints on here. This is a little frustrating. I'm gonna have to like fix the dust jacket because it's really bad, but you know, it's better than the other copy, so I'm just gonna go with it. I was trying to show you Winston sniffing my book, but he left, so I'm gonna go read. So sorry if you can hear Bowser barking outside, but I have finished The Silence of the Lambs and I forgot to take out my bookmark. I really enjoyed this. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I wish that there was more Hannibal Lecter in it, which is something that is happening in the 1st and 3rd, so I should read those. I did like this a lot. I just didn't care quite as much about the investigating stuff because Hannibal Lecter was so interesting. But overall, I liked it. I thought it was a good time. I can definitely see how this has influenced so much of the genre and like serial killer characters being smart and manipulative and just like really interesting characters. I had a great time with this, 4 stars, and I enjoyed buddy reading it with Michelle, and I'm about 50% into the Roanoke Girls, so I am going to actually go watch The Traitors with Adam. We watched the first episode like a week ago, and then I was like, can we watch another one? And then we watched 3, but we started the next episode because they don't tell you who was sent home until the beginning of the next episode, so we needed to watch that, so we're gonna watch the rest of it. And then I'm going to get back into the Roanoke Girls until I fall asleep. I might finish it in the morning because today was a rough day and I can see myself falling asleep pretty early, but since I'm pretty close to being done with this one, I'm just going to finish it out in this video instead of putting it in the next one. But I'm really excited to be doing another week of weekly vlogging. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I feel like I've been able to share a little bit more of my life and what I've been doing. I'm going to go watch more of The Traitors and then get back into this, which I am having a really good time with still, even though it's messed up. I got through most of the Roanoke Girls last night, and then I finished it up this morning. I think I'm going to give this 4.5 stars. This one is not one that I would go around recommending. It's very dark and not in like a super explicit way, but the specific thing is, I feel like, crossing the line for a lot of people, and this book is not glorifying it. It's showing it being dark and disturbing and how it causes trauma and all of this stuff, but I really don't think that it's going to be for most people. I really can't talk much about the plot of this book, but I immediately knew what was going on, and I don't know if that's just me, but I think that most people will know. So if you are interested in this with my very vague descriptions, but you do want to know, you definitely can message me, because I don't want someone to read this and not realize what it is and think that I'm recommending it specifically. But I think it was done really well. I thought it was interesting. I think it was very sad and heartbreaking. I'm not exactly sure what kept it from being 5 stars specifically. I didn't want explicit details of what was going on, but I think I wanted maybe some more internal thoughts on everything from certain characters, and not specifically their perspectives, but just like more, I don't know, a little bit more of something. But I would read more from this author. I think that this was her adult debut. I'm not sure if she has written more since then. This was messed up. That's it. So the first week of Realmathon didn't really go as planned. I did read 4 books. 2 of them I knew that I was going to read without the spinner wheel. I would not have picked up either of these 2 really anytime soon, so I'm glad that I got to those. This one is one I'm really not surprised about, and this one breaks my heart completely. It is shattered. I'm really sad. I don't know why I'm holding it this way. What are the chances that I got so many books with black covers though? So that is great for bonus points for my team. If you've made it to the end and want to leave me an emoji to say you were here, you can leave me is there a frame or a picture, something picture related, in the comments. I know I don't do a lot of weekly vlogs on my channel, but I am about to jump into the next one. I'm starting some very exciting books next that I have really high hopes for. So I hope to see you in my next one. Bye.